Hi, my name is Diana, and I recently took a course on communication as part of my certificate in relationship coaching. It was during my course that I discovered why none of my romantic relationships have ever worked. As I thought about it more, I realized that miscommunication also was the main reason for almost every breakup that I have recently discussed with my clients. In fact, according to a study cited in HuffPost, 65% of relationships end in splitting up due to poor communication, which contributes to an inability to resolve conflict and can lead to contempt, which according to the Gottman Institute is a leading cause of divorce. The other 43% of relationships end due to, you guessed it, an inability to resolve conflict, which is also more often than not a side effect of poor communication. This isn't surprising, because no one teaches us the best ways to communicate with our partners. So unless you had good examples around you to observe while you were growing up, or you went to marriage counseling with your spouse, you are likely to learn this skill the hard way through trial and error. Even if you've taken an interpersonal communication class during college or somewhere else, it can feel unnatural and even corny to try to speak in those ways. But strangely enough, when I've had people speak to me in these recommended ways, I've actually ended up admiring them and feeling like it actually did work. So what exactly is communication? According to Loveology University, communication is honest and real understanding and relating that leads to genuine intimacy and a healthy bond between people. Without honesty in your communications, there will be no understandings, and lack of understanding will erode the trust. So it is important to be honest and transparent at all times in your communication with your partner, even if it means telling them something that they may not like about you. For example, admitting that you are addicted to smoking when they don't like or approve that habit. Being honest doesn't mean not being considerate and tactful. You don't have to tell her verbatim that she looks fat in that dress. Just tell her what dress you think she looks the best in. Keep it positive if you can. A lot of times when people are dishonest in a relationship, it is because they are afraid that being honest will cause their partner to reject them, or they are afraid of how their partner might react. But being dishonest and getting caught in a lie is more likely to end a significant relationship than telling the truth. And being honest and transparent is also the only way to know if you are truly compatible with your partner and whether or not you can overcome differences of opinion. If you're honest with someone and they reject you for it, that just helps you to understand that this probably is not the best relationship for you. Now, some people might think that if poor communication causes a relationship to end, that the solution is more frequent communication. Just because you are communicating regularly doesn't mean you are communicating in a way that fosters a healthy bond. Words can be used as weapons, and communicating the wrong way can actually harm your relationship just as much, if not more, than not communicating at all. I know from experience because in the past, when I felt like my partner had hurt me, my reaction was usually to inflict that same level of injury on them by using my words, not to tell them that I felt hurt. It was like the take an eye for an eye method of speaking. However, the impact of that was never a desirable one. It didn't help me get what I wanted. It damaged my relationships, and I later regretted it. So what is a better way to communicate our feelings and needs? If you're very upset about something that your partner did, take some deep breaths and some time to calm down before trying to communicate your feelings about it. Otherwise, you run the risk of saying something that causes a defensive reaction. If you need to get some space in order to feel calm, let them know. Say, I'm feeling really triggered right now. I'm going to take a walk, and when I calm down, I'll come back. That way your partner doesn't worry about why you stormed off and left, and they know that you're coming back eventually. If your partner has lost their cool and is saying things out of a flood of anger, it can help to stay calm in the eye of that storm. If you lose your calm while they are also reacting from a flood of anger and bad feelings, then you both increase the negativity and you feed off of each other's storm, as opposed to being the one who stays sane while the other is completely losing it. If you can stay calm, you're most likely going to help them calm back down so that they can talk about it in a better manner. Not speaking up when you are upset also leads to problems, because when you suppress your emotions, especially negative emotions, they tend to come out in other ways, which are just as bad, if not worse. So it is important to let your partner know in the most gentle way possible if they have hurt your feelings in some way. To express your emotions in a considerate way, you could tell them, I feel sad when you don't text or call me. I would love it if you would reach out to me more often. This way of stating what you want or feel using I language and without blaming or attacking them is more likely to get a positive response than using blaming you language. If you express what you want in this considerate manner, it now becomes your partner's job to either explain why they can't text or call more often, or to do it because now they know what makes you happy. Your partner will most likely want you to be happy. If they don't, that is a cause for concern. It is a myth that two people who speak the same language will be able to understand each other. And as beautiful as intuition is, people are not mind readers. Don't expect your partner to be your mind reader. While some people communicate more passively or aggressively, according to Dr. Ava Cadell, in most situations, assertive communication that states your wants, feelings, and opinions openly but in a respectful, considerate, and tactful manner is the best type of communication to use in any relationship. If you don't ask for what you want, you very likely will not get it. You can't blame your partner for not fulfilling your wants and needs unless you have successfully communicated what your wants and needs are to them. So how do we state our needs, feelings, opinions, and wants in an open and respectful, considerate way? Let's go back to our first example. Let's say your partner doesn't initiate texts and phone calls with you, and so you feel like they don't love you or like they don't care enough about how you are doing, and that hurts. Instead of getting mad at them and saying, you never text or call me, and it's clear that you don't care about me, or saying nothing at all while waiting to see if they will change, tell them, I love it when you text or call me often. At least then they know how they can make you happy. And if they still don't text or call you, now it becomes a real problem, not an imaginary one. You can also use that same sentence, but add how you're feeling first. You could say, I feel really sad when you don't text or call me. I would love it if you do text and call me more often. That same pattern, I feel blank when you do blank, or I feel blank when blank happens, is probably the best way to communicate your feelings in a not blaming way. Don't make assumptions about your partner, no matter how long you've known them. If you are starting to assume something about your partner's behavior, ask before you blame or act on your assumption. Get curious. Ask your partner questions and listen to their answers. Listening to what they say will help you understand why your partner is behaving that way. It might be something about stress at work or something that they're going through and has nothing to do with you at all. Yet you make it about you when you don't include them in the conversation. Don't act on your assumptions without knowing the truth. Talk first to find out what the truth is. You won't know unless you ask them. Good listening is more important than talking. Often known as the reason that we have 2 ears and 1 mouth. I know a wonderful lady who said that she wasn't pretty like the other girls when she was growing up. So in high school, she worked on making her personality attractive by becoming a good listener. Turns out she never lacked for boyfriends, simply because she would listen to people. Being a good listener means waiting for your partner to finish talking before you speak. Don't interrupt your partner while they are talking. Wait for them to finish talking first, before saying your piece, to ensure that you fully got the whole message. We've all been guilty of interrupting, myself included. In fact, in my younger days, I used to bulldoze entire conversations, sometimes simply because someone said something that sparked an idea and I got so excited that I wanted to share it immediately. But generally speaking, interrupting your partner means that you haven't heard everything that they were going to say. And it's not effective listening if you want to understand your partner. If you catch yourself doing this, apologize and ask them to go on about what they were going to say. If your partner does interrupt you, try not to react with anger. It's important to understand that people who interrupt often do so because they're not used to being heard or having what they say be taken seriously. Ask them tactfully if they can wait their turn and assure them that when you finish talking, you will listen to what they have to say. Part of being a good listener is not expecting your partner to think and be the same as you. It's important to learn to understand and celebrate their differences. Lastly, have tolerance. Keep in mind that no person or relationship is perfect. If you expect perfection from your partner, you are likely living in a fantasy world. As a good friend of mine always used to say, it is human to err, but we learn from our mistakes. When you talk with your partner, ask them open-ended questions that will allow them to express more than just a simple yes or no answer. Ask questions to ensure you fully understand what your partner is saying. It can be helpful to repeat back to them what you thought you heard them say to ensure that you understand them correctly. For example, after your partner tells you that they want you to text and call them more often, you could say, "I'm hearing that you want me to initiate calling and texting you more often. Is that right?" So it's really important that you check in with them to understand or ensure that you've heard them right. Keep in mind that if you want your partner to feel comfortable telling you what they want and need from your relationship, reacting in anger when they do so will likely make them feel scared to share with you next time. Perhaps the most harmful communication style, which can lead to contempt as well as lowering your partner's self-esteem, is offering destructive criticism to your partner that doesn't help them and only breaks down their self-image. People tend to remember the negative comments people say to them more than the positive ones. For every 1 negative comment, it takes 5 positive comments to bounce back. For this reason, if you do need to provide constructive criticism to your partner that will be helpful for them to become aware of, make sure your criticism is constructive. and make sure that you sandwich it between two positive comments about them, and keep the critical part to a minimum. Make sure that you attack the problem, not the person. If you really do think that your partner needs to lose weight, don't attack the way they look. Make the conversation about how you care about them and that you're worried about their health. Suggest activities to do with them that would help them to lose weight, or ask them what they think would help them with it. If you are struggling to find a way to express your wants and needs to your partner in a way that is considerate and gentle with them, it may be helpful to talk with a relationship coach. I'm currently offering free sample coaching sessions, which you can schedule on my website. I'll leave a link for my website in the description below. Don't forget to subscribe.